What is going on, YouTube? It's RandyTalksMets in the building. This video is going to be about the Mets fielding offers for Jeff McNeil, Dominic Smith, and J.D. Davis, per a report from Andy Martino. We're going to get into the report overall, but we're also going to get into my opinions about all the players that are involved in this report. So definitely leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Definitely, guys, we're on the road to 250. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the momentum going. I'm loving the support. Let's go Mets all day. Okay, so let's talk about the report. Definitely, guys, per Andy Martino, Jeff McNeil, Dominic Smith, and J.D. Davis are now on the table. They are on the block. They are on the trading block for the New York Mets after the lockout. The Mets are, they seen that they want to see what they can get for these guys. And I completely understand why. Overall, with Jeff McNeil, we know he's a second baseman. We know his place with the team. Overall, Jeff McNeil has been in some controversy with Francisco Lindor. He hasn't had a really the best relationship with Francisco Lindor with the choking scandal, the raccoon scandal, whatever you want to call it. So definitely is understandable. And he had a down season last year. So that's also understandable. Jeff McNeil is 29 years old. Okay, so, it's not like he's the youngest guy, but he is 29 years old. So, I completely understand why the Mets want to field offers for him. I just think personally that Jeff McNeil, you have a lot of control over. So if you're going to trade him, you better get something good. And right now, Jeff McNeil's value is not that high, with the down season that he had last year. So now let's get into a player of Dominic Smith. Dominic Smith, a guy that's he is 26 years old. So he's the youngest out of this bunch. Definitely, Dominic Smith is a left-hander, first baseman, a guy that has a nice glove. Dominic Smith has a lot to offer. He has power. He can play the bench. He can play the outfield a little bit. He is not the best defensive outfielder. Overall, his position is really first base. But, obviously with the position and Pete Alonso, we know that he's blocked. So obviously Dominic Smith does not really have a lot, a place on his team right now currently with all the additions that the Mets have made with Starling Marte, Mark Canha, Brandon Nimmo. They are losing Michael Conforto, but overall, with all these outfielder additions, Dominic Smith doesn't have that much of a place anymore with this team. So, yeah, definitely, guys, Dominic Smith, like I said, is 26 years old. So he's definitely young still, And that's what I like, that Dominic Smith is young. He has a good head on his shoulders. He's a guy that is very respectable. He knows his place on the team. He knows, how to go with the motions and how to, do what's best for the team. So I completely understand that. Now we're also going to talk about another player, J.D. Davis, guys. J.D. Davis, another player that the Mets actually got traded for a couple of prospects. But definitely J.D. Davis, he has been with the Mets for 2 years now, or almost 3. Definitely, he's at the age of 28, so he is on the closer age to Jeff McNeil, which is 29. But I would say definitely, J.D. Davis is still 28 years old. He has a lot to offer. He's still a nice bat. He still can hit you home runs. He still can play, the field. He is not the best defender on third base. He's not the best defender at all, to be honest. He has a rocket for an arm. He does have a rocket for an arm, but, with his double clutches and all that stuff, he's just not the best defensive third baseman. So I completely understand why the Mets are, fielding offers for J.D. Davis. It's very understandable. So overall, Jeff McNeil, Dominic Smith, J.D. Davis, all these players, the Mets have control over. So definitely that's big with all these players. If another team is trying to look at these players, they definitely look for control first. Okay, so, when you have control over a player, over their free agency, it's pretty big. You can see what they can do for you. You can develop them the way you want to develop them. But yeah, guys, we're going to get into Jeff McNeil's, his stats a little bit. overall. 2021, not the best stats in the world. Completely understandable. We know what happened with the down season that he had. He did play. He did not play the full 162. He did play 120 games. So obviously 120 games is not 60 games. So definitely 120 games is still a lot of games. Way more than 60. So it's not like the abbreviated season. So it's not like Jeff McNeil has a lot of excuses here. I would say a problem with Jeff McNeil is definitely he doesn't know what type of hitter that he really wants to be. He doesn't know if he wants to be a pull hitter. He doesn't know if he wants to be a contact hitter. But yeah, we're going to get into his batting average. So his batting average for 2021 was 251. Okay, so 251 batting average over 120 games is not very impressive at all. It's not something you look at and be like, wow, it's a disappointing batting average, definitely for 120 games. It's not what you want to see. He did strike out 58 times. That's not the best for Jeff McNeil, because Jeff McNeil is a guy that, is a contact hitter. When he was at his best, he was a contact hitter. He was hard to strike out. He would almost have like an Ichiro swing and, always get the ball down the line, or always, hit you a hit on the opposite field. So definitely, his walks were kind of down as well. His walks were 29. He had 29 walks. His RBIs were 35 RBIs, not very impressive. In 2019, he had 75 RBIs. So 75 RBIs in 133 games, compared to 120 games and 35 RBIs is a complete difference. You can see that, Jeff McNeil was not bringing in a lot of runs for this team. So home runs, in 2019, Jeff McNeil showed some power. His batting average was 318. His RBIs were 75, and he had 23 RBIs. Now, I think personally, Jeff McNeil is that type of player. I'm not going to say he is a 20-plus home run hitter. He doesn't have to be, but he definitely was in 2019. So, but yeah, 2021, let's get back to 2021. Definitely, guys, he had 7 home runs. So 7 home runs compared to 23 home runs is definitely, drastic. It's definitely different. So, in 2021, he had 97 hits. And in 2019, which was his best season, that's why I keep bringing it up, it was 162 hits. So definitely, guys, you see the difference, between the seasons of 2019, 2021, and you see that definitely, Jeff McNeil is a nice hitter. He can do a lot for a team. He is not the best defensive, second baseman of the world, but definitely, he's not the worst. So, I would say Jeff McNeil had a very disappointing season. And obviously, guys, like I said, let's go back to the stats. 251 batting average. 7 home runs, 35 RBIs, not a lot to really, look at and be like, okay, wow, he did great, so definitely, Jeff McNeil, I feel like personally he has a lot to offer. I think he needs to realize what type of hitter he is. Hopefully the hitting coach that we have, can help him with that, coming into the 2022 season. So let's get into another player, guys. Definitely Dominic Smith. Dominic Smith is definitely 26 years old. Sorry about that. 26 years old. So he's the youngest out of the bunch. First baseman. He also had another disappointing season for the New York Mets. So 2021, his batting average was 244. Now, that's not a mistake, guys. His batting average in 2021 was 244. Now, that's a terrible batting average. The strikeouts were, oh my goodness, 112 strikeouts. That is a complete drastic change. Goodness. The most strikeouts he's ever had, guys, in a season was 49 strikeouts, guys. So the fact that he had 112 strikeouts is very concerning. I do not like the strikeouts definitely in 2021 is definitely a cause for concern. He played 145 games, okay? Now, he wasn't always playing. He was on the bench a little bit. He was starting a little bit, but he wasn't always starting. So, I would say that. But, guys, 112 strikeouts compared to 49 is a big, drastic change. So, guys, definitely the home runs. He had 11 home runs, and that's actually the most he hit in a season before, 11 home runs, because he hit in 2019, also 11 home runs. His RBIs were 58. Actually, to be honest, his RBIs this season, last season, actually, 2021, was the most he's ever had in an MLB season. Now, obviously, Dominic Smith hasn't had a lot of opportunity to play, with Pete Alonso, and, so it's completely understandable why. But, guys, the fact that he struck out, I'm going to go back to this. He struck out 112 times and only walked 32 times. It shows a lot. It shows that, he had a down season. It shows that, for 145 games, he struck out 112 times. So that's very disappointing. I would say, going back to Jeff McNeil, I would say definitely, it's time to trade. If it's the right time to trade Jeff McNeil, then it is. If the Mets want to trade him and they want to get something back for him, hopefully they get a nice prospect back or, another player like similar to Jeff McNeil. But going back to Dominic Smith, guys, definitely the Mets, they cannot get a lot right now for Dominic Smith either, because Dominic Smith does not have a lot of value right now. He is a nice first baseman. Like I said, he has that plus glove. His arm is pretty good as well. But 112 strikeouts, that's very concerning. Now let's get into another player, on this list. Definitely, guys, J.D. Davis. A guy that's 28 years old. He was given the opportunity to be the Mets third baseman, for a little bit. Definitely in this 2021 season, he got hurt. Jonathan VR took over. Even when J.D. Davis came back, definitely it wasn't great. So we're going to get into 2021 for J.D. Davis, his stats. Definitely, guys, he only played in 73 games, okay? So he did not play in a lot of games. He was injured, like I said, and he also lost a lot of playing time to Jonathan VR because Jonathan VR was playing better than him. So it made complete sense why he wasn't playing. Now, guys, his batting average for 2021, he didn't play a lot, like I said. So his batting average was 285. Now, looking at the batting average, guys, is definitely better than Jeff McNeil and Dominic Smith. But the fact that he only played in 73 games, is also concerning as well. A guy that, health is very important with a player. And J.D. Davis definitely, playing in only 73 games out of 162. Just very concerning. I know the Mets were not happy with J.D. Davis, and I completely understand why. Like I said, his batting average is 285, not much to really look at there. His most strikeouts in a season was definitely in 2019 with the New York Mets, and that was 97. So, but he also had a batting average of 307. So, going back to 2021, guys, his strikeouts were 68. So he had a lot of strikeouts still, not as much as Dominic Smith with the freaking 112, but definitely, guys, it's still, J.D. Davis is, a guy that can go play, hit to the opposite field. He could definitely hit to the opposite field for power, So the fact that he only had 5 home runs is also very concerning as well, because in 2019, he had 22 home runs. So the fact, like I said, he didn't play in a lot of games, 73 games. So, but 5 home runs, just concerning. It's not good at all. 24 walks, did not walk a lot. Guys, honestly, 23 RBIs, not something you really look at and be like, wow, 73 games he played. So, I completely understand why, these guys are on the trading block. Definitely completely understand because you got to really think about it this way, guys. The Mets, like I said, Dominic Smith does not have a place on this team anymore. I personally think he doesn't. Obviously with the additions with the outfield, I feel like he doesn't. And I'm sure the Mets are feeling the same way as me. But, like I said, Dominic Smith is still young, 26 years old, can offer, another team something, he can be the starting first baseman for another team and actually be given a chance. So, Jeff McNeil, going back to Jeff McNeil, guys, the Mets do have control over him. He is 29 years old. He is not the best defensive second baseman in the world, but, he could play third base. He could play the outfield a little bit, but he's mostly an infielder. But, guys, definitely Jeff McNeil, like I said, with the raccoon situation, with the choking scandal, whatever you want to call it with Francisco Lindor, it's definitely concerning, guys. It's definitely concerning. So I completely understand why the Mets want to, trade these guys. It's just you just look at these guys and be like, okay, yeah, these guys have to go. These guys, the Mets have to see what they can get for these guys. But the problem is, I would say, the problem is the trade value, guys. Jeff McNeil, he is a guy that is versatile. He can play second base. He can play third base. He can play the outfield a little bit. Like I said, he's not really an outfielder. He could still play it, though. Dominic Smith, first baseman, could play the outfield. He's not an outfielder. Me, personally, I don't want to see him in the outfield ever again. Yeah, guys. J.D. Davis, also another guy, I feel like is probably like a DH in another, like in the American League. Or if the Mets, if the National League gets a DH, then J.D. Davis will have another place in the National League. But definitely, guys, with the Mets, J.D. Davis, I feel like it's time to go. I feel like J.D. Davis has run its course. Definitely, he's a nice player. I feel like he can offer a team another, something else, more value definitely than he's offering the Mets. Dominic Smith, like I said, he can offer the another team something else. He can play first base. He's very good defensively. He can hit some hit you some home runs there. Jeff McNeil, like I said, he just needs to realize what type of hitter he is and stay to it. Hopefully the hitting coach can help him out in 2022 if he is with the Mets or another team. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely, I went a little bit in depth, definitely with these guys, with Jeff McNeil, Dominic Smith, J.D. Davis. You got to hear my opinions. So I love you guys always, guys, and I always want to end the video with telling you guys you can do anything that you want to do in your life. So yeah, just do it, man. Don't let anyone stop you in this world. And yeah, let's go Mets. This has been Randy Talks Mets, and I love you guys.